The Mercedes Glc Coupe is here in the all-new generation. We're going to drive it with the German Autobahn special here today with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go here with the spectral blue vehicle, typical Thomas blue color. It's among my favorite colors, definitely. Amg line, although the avant-garde trim in the Coupe already looks kind of like this. Just the Amg line has a sportier accentuation in the lower part here. Optional digital light. Normal LED would be standard. These ones here have more high beam performance, and you can also see these extra blue accentuations on the inside. That's a beautiful work indeed. Then going towards the side profile, 4.76 m or 187 inches, just a couple of centimeters longer than the Coupe because the spoilers are different. And of course this typical side silhouette here with the roofline, falling roofline. Sometimes SUV Coupes look kind of awkward a little bit. I think here, especially with this new generation, they managed a very beautiful side profile. And also, when you talk at home and you want to go for the Coupe, just tell, your partner, this one is the more aerodynamic, the more efficient one. So you then might save some fuel with this body form here. Then the wheels, in this case 20-inch in black. Of course, different stylings are available and also different sizes. We're going to test the comfort here later on the Autobahn. And you can see here in this AMG line also painted wheel arches fitting to the exterior color. Side steps, anyone? I found them really cool looking. I love them. And also these ones fulfill an aerodynamic function. They optimize the wind flow. Why not go for them then, right? Then technology-wise, sport suspension would be standard for the Coupe here. And then you can optionally go for an air suspension, both axles, and that one comes in a package with a rear axle steering up to 4.5 degrees in the opposite direction than the front wheels, reducing the turning circle by a meter. Towards the rear, I think in the shape, the overall shape, they found a very beautiful look for this SUV Coupe, also here with the integrated rear spoiler. However, what I'm kind of confused of is you have these beautiful lights here, the signature, but then in the middle part, I would expect the light strip that goes through, but then this middle part here is not illuminated, and they used it in a lot of their new vehicles now. Also, Autogefühl fake exhaust police alert, because in the lower part they are pure fake exhaust. And you've maybe followed our recent coverage of our fake exhaust fight, and a lot of manufacturers we could convince now to go back. And some all-new models at different manufacturers have actually erased the fake exhaust now, so we will keep fighting for you. In the front, the turning indicators are defo fancy, aren't they? Turning indicators in the rear? Oh, now that's disappointing, isn't it? Why have they done that? Well, when you open the hatch, then the outside ones are still active. That's one of the reasons, but I think they could have done better, couldn't they? And look at that. Kind of a light start-up of this digital light is also a special feature. Sometimes you ask me, what is your favorite configuration? Well, here it's very obvious, exactly like this. This spectral blue on the exterior, then with the side step, and the bright Artico Ambitex on the interior perforated. I would just take it also with the seat cooling. It's not equipped with this vehicle. That then would be the final configuration. But I think especially this combination, bright interior to the blue exterior, is just awesome. And also as GLC 300, since we cannot get a 3-liter 6-cylinder petrol here anymore for this one. The key fob, I love it. It's really, heavy in your hand, but it's not too big, really high class. Then door closing sound. That is, definitely not that premium, I have to say, really. Inside of the door, then, however, really good from the build quality here. High-grade leatherette. The lower part here, however, is hardpack. And then here, the seat controls, they do not give you a physical feedback. I hope at some point they fix it again. Seat heating would be there, and also seat cooling if you went for that option, because these seats here are the bright one, or beige, or almost white actually, maybe ivory. Okay, now I've mentioned all colors, whatever you want to call it. These here Artico Ambitex, this is high-grade leatherette, animal-free and perforated, also works with seat cooling, and it's really soft. Interesting. AMG line, steering wheel with 2 horizontal fins then. The thing is, if you do not go for an AMG line steering wheel at Mercedes, I found the capacitive #capacitive BS buttons on the steering wheel a little bit easier to control than these ones. The AMG line steering wheel, however, looks way cooler. Then here with 189 or 6 with 2, still have a lot of headroom over my head, and it's a very comfortable seating position, actually all SUV you need. And steering wheel control is here also electric. Interior cockpit overview. My favorite feature are these air vents. Yes, at some point here they're not 100% straight, that's what I criticize, but however what I love is this one. Beautiful, these clicking sounds. Yeah, and sometimes I even play with them while driving. Not that you would see that in the driving part. Here and then is some carbon fiber decal element, that's cool. But here, so much black piano lacquer, I think they need to work on this one. In the E-Class, they have done that now. And then the Amg line steering wheel, which is, as I said, visually the better one. And of course, when it gets darker here now, they're the experts of ambient lighting. That looks fantastic here and here, also in the small vents. And also when you change the temperature, it goes to red or goes to blue, depending on how you switch the temperature. So that's a very cool idea. And we have more also at the inside of the doors, front and also in the rear. Head-up display, speed and also some GPS information, but only if you use the car internal GPS. As for the digital instruments, I actually like them, just that the speed in the top part could be a little bit larger or centralized. And then, yeah, you've seen sometimes you miss these capacitive buttons at the steering wheel when you want to control something like here. And you maybe also saw our consumption here, 7.5 liters on 100 kilometers. So that's about 30 mpg US or 35 mpg UK. MBUX infotainment, their own GPS map is usable. But if you don't like that, you always have this Apple CarPlay hotkey in the top part there, both wireless or wired. You can choose that also with Android Auto. And to deactivate these new speed warnings, by the way, that are now EU law, there it is, when I turn on the engine, I can press in the top left part here. So when you exceed the speed, that you have a 3 beeping chime. Or you can also, same function like this, also hold the mute button at the steering wheel. That would be the alternative. And temperature control is always in the lower part, no physical control. But for a touchscreen solution, it is at least relatively straightforward, also here with the air vent strength. Middle console, slide this open. Cup holders, they do not hold heavy and high bottles tight enough, so they need to rework that. USB chargers, in the front is inductive charging pad, so overall actually a lot of space. And my favorite split opening for the armrest, #ASMR. Okay, one more time. There we go. And talking about ASMR or car SMR. And of course, yeah, we often also do it in our YouTube Shorts channel. You should also subscribe to that. Rear doors, here also the leatherette top and the lower part, really soft, that's good. And then the space here, we do have a significant middle tunnel. But the good thing is here, for my knees, this recess works very well, so I can sit here as a tall adult. And things also with the coupe, does it work headroom-wise? Yeah, of course, in the GLC SUV you have a little bit more headroom, but here it still works. So you can go for it without much compromise. Folding down this one, by the way, here like a smartphone holder, but I'm not sure who would use that. And then cup holders, and they're actually quite fancy. And I want to show you this once again. Look at the front seats, and when I then release them from the rear, because at this moment they would be a little bit too far in the front. Now when I go around and press this one, look at that. They go forward automatically, that we have this folding mechanism and then they can also be moved back because the head restraints that are then a little bit lower than this recess. And then also when I push them back again, you can see here, they automatically go back again. This is a very clever mechanism. The trunk or the boot is at 545 liters, 55 liters less than with the GLC SUV. However, you have this easy access here, like an estate, but you still have this special exterior. Just here in height, you lose a little bit comparing to the coupe, comparing to the SUV. Sorry, again, in the coupe, you lose a little bit of height right here comparing to the SUV. Yeah, you easily get confused. What's cool here in the width? More than 1 meter or 40 inches in width, that's awesome. And also the length is 1 meter or 40 inches, so very well usable indeed. And also look at that here. You can easily fold down the seats just like this. This is actually a perfect mechanism. I can just applaud them for that. Under the hood, 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol and diesel, and also plug-in hybrids, both for petrol and diesel, with significant pure electric range, like realistic 80 kilometers or 50 miles. Here, this one, however, pure petrol engine, GLC 300 is the main engine, so to speak. In the US, also available as rear-wheel drive, or then all-wheel drive. This is also the all-wheel drive version here. And then it comes with 255 horsepower in the US or 258 horsepower here in Germany. 3 horsepower, really? Why the difference? Yeah, it's always about the different regulations for the emissions and so on. And acceleration figure is 6.2 seconds. When you have the all-wheel drive version here for a GLC, interesting, always a rear-wheel bias, 30% front, 70% distribution to the rear. It's Thomas's driving lounge on the German Autobahn, and let's start here in the sport mode, GL3 300, and let's accelerate it out. Let's go. 100, 120. So that was like 50 to 120. Pretty quick enough, definitely. Acceleration figure 0 to 100 or 62 miles an hour is just around 6 seconds, 6.2 seconds. So I think this is also the sweet spot engine, so to speak. Yes, still a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but they don't offer the 6-cylinder petrol engine for this one here anymore. So this one here will be worldwide also the most important engine. You don't have this 6-cylinder growling, but power-wise, definitely this is enough. Here it's also equipped with the air suspension in this case, together with the rear axle steering. When we're driving faster here now, then you don't feel the rear axle steering because it's steering the rear axle in the parallel direction at lower speeds. It is a difference actually. I'm soon going to talk about that, or when we drive a little bit slower. First of all, here driving faster, noise insulation, you also get a extra noise insulation package, either with a high trim or as an extra. And here, it's really very good. So it is a high-build SUV, and yes, if you compare a sedan then with the same technology, it will be less noisy. So you just stand more against the wind. But considering it's here this mid-size SUV or compact SUV for the US taste, I think it's very good noise insulation, as we know from Mercedes in general. And also in the sport mode, this air suspension here gets a little bit stiffer, so gives me more control over the vehicle. This is the good thing here about the air suspension, that it's just adaptive. But still here in the sport mode and 20-inch wheels, it still remains comfortable. You do feel a notable difference here when I switch back to the comfort mode. Good thing also that I don't have to press here and then again in the screen. I can really use the buttons here that it switches through the modes. So that's not that. Here, look at that. I can control it and still look ahead what's going on. If I would need to activate it first and then click something on the screen, like we know, quite often nowadays on the car market, it would be even more distracting. Here in the comfort mode, the air suspension gets a little bit softer. If you want the softest ride, you would go for smaller wheels. Here with the 20-inch wheels, you feel that you carry large wheels. That adds some sportiness, but takes away a little bit of the comfort. If you ask me about the difference, GLC Coupe versus GLC SUV, it's indeed more about the suspension choice and the wheel choice. So you know that the GLC Coupe starts with the sport suspension, and yes, then it would be stiffer and sportier than the SUV, but you can go for the sport suspension with the SUV, you can put big wheels on the SUV, and so on. So it really depends more on which suspension do you pick and which wheel size, and then it's more the difference in the driving quality. That the roof is a little bit cut off there, you don't really feel that while driving, so that's, I think, neglectable. However, aerodynamics is better here with the GLC Coupe, so that means when you're driving steady speed motorway and even a little bit higher speed and so on, it is indeed better aerodynamics. That's also funny, isn't it? Subscribers know what's coming now. Switching the motorways, that's always a lovely section here. So the transition between two autobahns, Autobahnen, we would say actually the correct plural in German, because then you can retest their driving agility. Here the road is a little bit uneven, and there I feel more difference, by the way, when I go to comfort suspension here now. That's definitely better. Here still, because of the 20-inch wheels, we do get some bumps inside. And Now I go back to the sport mode again. And then we can... What the hell? What is this? It's like standing still on a motorway transition. I don't know what this is supposed to mean. Here now we can switch the lanes. Okay, this guy also doesn't know. Right or left now? It's not Sunday. It's Saturday at the filming of this driving party, but sometimes strange things are going on the road. Now here, really nice in the corner. Look at that. It's an SUV, but still feels very agile, especially here in that sporty mode. Nice. Now we accelerate out again. We will bias from the all-wheel drive, pin it down. Sound emulation a little bit. That's actually really smooth. Also how we enter out the corner. Blind spot monitor, also with acoustic warning when I hit down the turning indicator. Oh, with these wheels here, it gets kind of rough. Now there's like another bump, like another... yeah, well, there we go. Yeah, this is like always a famous bump here on the motorway where you can test the suspension. Yeah, there it was. And another one. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I feel indeed I would advise you to go for smaller wheels, because that does cost you some comfort already here with the 20-inch wheels indeed. But wow, the driving experience is really good. And also here, especially in this generation, you always ask me, previous generation to this generation, because most of the car buyers of a vehicle will come from the previous generation. Here they worked especially on the steering. And so far, Mercedes steering fields were always a little bit boring, or maybe just for running straight and so on. But here, no dead zone area, very fine feeling of the steering control, also smooth transition to the outside areas. I love the steering feel here now with the recent Mercedes models. That's so well done indeed. And in the sport mode, also a little bit more feedback, and in the comfort mode it gets a little bit softer. So that depends on just what you prefer, and you can always set your individual mode, and then for example say like, hey, I want a soft suspension, but I want the steering to be stiffer here. That when you put the eye, of course, it's better when you set it. Then when stationary, you can go here to this options menu, and then you can really individualize your driving settings. That's a good thing to do. Then also assistance systems, setting it here in the construction side lane. Let's see if the active lane keeping assist also works here, because that's really putting it to the test. So a little bit more to the right maybe at this point, but it does keep the lane. So level 2, not meant that you keep your hands off the steering wheel. And of course the normal white lines would be the ideal. Okay, I don't have 100% trust in that one here in this construction lane. So just in case, I did take over the steering myself now. So now here again. But so far, when the car is realizing everything, actually quite smooth. So overall, these assistance systems are very elaborate. Also, I've heard the blind spot monitor, but never trust in it 100% yet. So maybe at some point we'll get to the point, but not yet so far. Yeah, I need to play with these clicking sounds here while driving. Sorry about that. And now construction lane is over. Let's accelerate one more time. 102. 130 and 140. Yeah, so already when we are at speed, good acceleration shown. So it's actually a good motorway vehicle. Also the long-term comfort. Here these Artico ambi seats are also very soft, as I said, in the interior part. And you can also get them with the cooling option. I think I would go for that one when I'm living in a hot state, or where when you live somewhere where you have really hot summers and so on. And also still very flexible. You can always go back to the comfort mode and have it a little bit more relaxed. So yes, the only thing I could find is I would go not for the biggest wheels. So maybe have like 19-inch as a design compromise or something. Or maybe even 18-inch if you want the best comfort. But other than that, also very good in the driving part here overall. Hey, we can drive even faster here. Let's see, German Autobahn, really the top speed. So far, there's the next limitation coming, so let's see how much can we score here. 170, still okay from the wind noise, 180 kilometers an hour. There's the next limit, have to go down. So high-speed test, also how calm and collected the car is in here in the lane change and so on. Let's do one more at 120, a little bit quicker one here in sport mode. You see here, it doesn't shake up at all. Doesn't really feel negative in an SUV way at all. And now let's do one more time in comfort mode, a quick lane change. Let's see. I've seen that, it shakes up a little more, it was a little bit softer, but still you have a good controlled feeling over the vehicle. That's always the case here with the GLC. And if you're interested in a competitor, of course the BMW X4 or also the Audi Q5 Sportback.